Dane Thompson, 17, his 10-year-old brother, Lucas, and their mother, Susan, relocate from Brooklyn to the quiet town of Bensonville, where Dane and Lucas become friends with their next-door neighbor, Julie Campbell. Dane and Lucas discover a trapdoor in the basement with several locks on each side while exploring their new home. Opening the trapdoor reveals a seemingly bottomless hole. Each child experiences strange events over the next few days. Lucas, who is afraid of clowns, discovers a jester puppet on his bed and in other places, as if it is following him. Julie begins to see an injured girl whose eyes bleed. Dane notices shadowy figures of a large man. Eventually, all three see the injured girl at the boys' house, where they follow her to the basement and watch her crawl into the hole. Julie suggests they seek assistance from Creepy Carl, the previous owner of the house, who now lives in an abandoned glove factory surrounded by hundreds of lights and lamps. When the kids inform him that they have opened the hole, he chastises them for allowing the evil within to escape, claiming that it will hunt them down and kill Dane. Carl is later seen scribbling in a sketchbook, almost blacking out entire pages, later that night. Carl yells, "I'm not done yet," as the light bulbs around him begin to flash. Dane discovers the sketchbook and returns to the factory to retrieve it. He discovers his sketchbook in the darkness. Creepy Carl has vanished. Julie decides to relax the group by inviting them to swim in her pool. Dane notices a shadowy figure of a giant man standing above the water while submerged. He notices a trail of muddy footprints after exiting the pool, which he and Julie follow, leaving Lucas alone in the pool. They return to find Lucas drowning after hearing Julie's pet dog, Charlie, barking. Lucas explains that the jester puppet had dragged him under. Dane notices a hand-shaped bruise on Lucas's leg later that night, while he is sleeping. He discovers that it is identical to a hand drawn in the sketchbook by Creepy Carl. He realizes as he flips through the sketchbook that each page is a puzzle piece. Dane hears someone whistling while working on the puzzle. When he walks into the kitchen, he notices an envelope from the New Jersey State Penitentiary addressed to him. "Hello, boy," says a note inside. He rushes upstairs to Lucas and informs him that there is someone in the house. While Dane is investigating, Lucas encounters a police officer at the bottom of the stairs. The officer shows Lucas a picture of two young girls and asks if he has seen one of them, pointing to the girl Julie first saw. The cop leaves the photograph with Lucas and turns to leave, revealing that the back of his head is missing. Dane is retrieved by Lucas, and the two watch the cop return to the basement and climb into the hole. The girl then appears in Julie's room next door. Julie climbs out of her window and approaches the boys, telling Dane that she and her best friend, Annie Smith, were playing on the tracks of an old roller coaster, which resulted in an accident in which Annie died. A police officer was also killed while attempting to assist Julie. She decides to go back to the amusement park where the accident occurred. Dane follows her, leaving Lucas alone. Julie discovers her friend sitting in the same spot where she fell. Annie disappears and is relieved that Julie is no longer afraid after Julie explains that she tried to save her. In the meantime, Lucas hears Dane summoning him to the basement. He follows the voice, perplexed, to discover the jester puppet impersonating Dane's voice. The puppet attacks Lucas, but is eventually defeated and destroyed. Lucas declares that he is no longer afraid of clowns when Dane and Julie return. Dane then tells them about a theory that says that when you look into the hole, it somehow knows who you are and creates whatever you are afraid of. Dane says he is not afraid of anything when asked what he is afraid of. Julie then invites Dane and Lucas to spend the night at her house. Dane shows Julie the puzzle he's been working on while Lucas gathers his belongings. They work together to solve the puzzle and witness a boy being grabbed by a giant man. Dane rushes upstairs to discover that Lucas has left. Dane finally admits that he is terrified of his father, who abused the entire family and is now incarcerated. Dane jumps into the hole after realizing his father has taken Lucas there. Dane discovers Lucas in the closet of a twisted version of their old house. Their father, who has grown into a giant, discovers them and begins to break down the door. When they turn around, they notice that the shelving appears to be a ladder. Dane instructs Lucas to begin climbing. Dane begins to follow, but his father pulls him back down. As Dane fights him off, the giant father shrinks back to his normal size as Dane confronts his fear and sees him for what he is. Their surroundings begin to crumble, and the floor collapses, trapping Dane and his father on an island beneath a ceiling fan. Dane pulls himself onto the fan and strikes the crumbling floor with his father's belt buckle, causing the floor to break apart and the father to fall. Dane crawls out of the hole where Julie and Lucas are waiting. They plug the hole just as their mother enters the basement. She notices the trapdoor and opens it to reveal a shallow crawl space beneath. Lucas asks his mother if she is afraid of anything as the group heads upstairs. She responds that as a child, she was terrified of a monster under her bed. "Uh-oh," Lucas says as the trapdoor blows open again, revealing that the darkness has returned. The jester puppet is shown winking his left eye in the post-credit scene.